like when it comes to education, like it feels good like when someone introduces something new and good, like which will take like the further like the present process to further. Like I'm getting some notification. Like, am I supposed to click got it? Yes. Sir, am I audible? Can someone please tell me whether am I audible or not? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. So I'll be sharing the screen. Host disabled attendee screen sharing. Can you please allow me to share my screen so that I can share my PPT with you guys?
Yes, it is
I'm
enabled.
extremely sorry. Thank you so much, sir. Like this thing is running in my background. Like I'm late by 30 minutes, whereas you guys already came at 2 o'clock and like waiting for me. I can't just like say it's a technical glitch. It's also my irresponsibility. So can you please come here, and am I supposed to do this share?
Yeah.
Share system audio also.
Share.
This one also.
Yeah. It's required when you are sharing some videos.
Yeah. Uh, can you guys see this slide on your screens? Like, what is a podcast? Can you? Hello,
Maheshji,
sir.
so after sharing that, you go for the presentation mode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, you guys able to see this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fine,
Press the F5, Maheshji.
sir.
F5, or otherwise, you can go for the presentation mode.
Yes, sir.
So switch on your microphone.
Well, uh, I'm completely blanked out, and okay, we'll start with what is a podcast. So, as you all know, what is like? I hope I don't think like no one is like very much alienistic to this audio medium called radio, or else like MP3s or podcast. Well, let's not leave it like that. I'll also give you what is like this podcast actually. A podcast is an episodic series of digital audio or video files that a user can download to a personal device to listen to at a time of their choosing. So I hope everyone is okay with my English. Like, is there anyone you want me to be multilingual about the slides? Like, English is fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. While like there's been a session in the morning, like how to use various tools to introduce new methods and ways in education system, so that like one can learn new things and all. Because like uh, we are now we are accustomed, and we customized our lifestyles, and it has become a online thing everywhere. So great thing. I don't know who took this initiative, like where we need to conduct podcasts also, like which could be useful for to teach something. My respect to them. And uh, glad that this particular thing called podcast, there are some things which are irreplaceable, and they are like time traveling, and they're fresh all the time. Just like if we take earlier days, when we want to send something, or else like when we want to send a message to someone, we used to do that by letters and something, and now it's replaced by video calls. Like we can directly call someone, and let them know what's got in our mind and all. It means like letters got replaced by video calls and all. Like many things got replaced, like our telephones got replaced by mobile phones and laptops and everything. But this particular emotional thing which has got with you know sending something, or else like teaching something through voice, is like never fading and never ending. So that's the best part about podcast. And also, like if you take radio also, because like this thing put to like we can assume in such a way that this particular radio thing got much better because of this podcast and all. So when it comes to podcast, like a podcast is an episodic series of digital audio or video files that a user can download to a personal device to listen to at a time of their choosing. So you can simply call it a book, whereas like one can read one's book and like read n number of times wherever he sits until there is light, like in that way. So what is the difference between a podcast and a radio? Um, there's no much difference, but there are a small key points which need to be kept in mind. And I don't think we are all like people who are attending in this particular session um, are very alienistic to this like audio devices, or else like something a mediums where we can learn something, or else like listen to. So but still I'll tell you these differences. Like what's the difference between a podcast and a radio? I- if we take radio, like evolution of the radio also, that's something like how the radio era started. We used to know things, we used to share our knowledge, or else like we need to we used to be updated what's happening like in and around us, like in the previous era. When it comes to radio, we are not accessed, or else like we are not allowed to talk. And our involvement used to be very limited. In fact, like not even limited, it's absolutely none when it comes to radio. But in podcast, like you yourself can be an entire subject. You yourself can be an entire medium, or is like a teacher, like anything where your knowledge, like whatever you want to share with someone, that could be accessible, and that could be you know you can do that anywhere, anytime, to anyone around the world. That's the biggest difference between podcast and radio. uh, so what are the common factors between podcast and radio? When it comes to radio, you need to tune to something. It's got a frequency, like frequency modulation. Uh, you need to log into that particular frequency, and not everywhere. But when it comes to podcast, we have got that what do you call it, that freedom. And we got that time freedom, we got that frequency medium, that freedom. And also we got that uh, you know uh, how do I say that, like you can access to a podcast anywhere, anytime. Let's imagine I'm a radio let's imagine I'm a radio jockey who does this particular show called like a storytelling, like where I also do storytelling. I also teach something from that stories. So you need to tune into my show between a particular time band. And what if I don't come on a particular day? That particular show will be stopped or it's like paused, and you need to wait for me, and you need to have a continuity for me, and you need to be consistent with me. But when it comes to podcast, it's not like that. It's a documentation. Once it's done, it's done. And you can eventually change that, you can edit that n number of times, and you can have an access to that no matter wherever you are, despite you have, like, irrespective of internet. And because like it's a download medium, and you can listen to that n number of times. No, like, let's imagine uh, you're doing a podcast like which is related to a science subject. I know like science is not something which can be explained in a podcast. I don't know like if any teacher makes that, that's really awesome. But let's take um, an example of a non-detailed story. Let's imagine we are narrating a non-detailed story to someone, and you can edit that, and if there is any mistakes, you can edit that a number of times. And what if you missed some uh, key points like which you forgot in the previous lessons? You can listen to them again and again. You can have an access to that again and again. So it's a freedom, it's a listening freedom you got. So like and uh, and one good advantage what we got is like when you learn something through audio medium, you'll be having this imagination in your mind, where let's imagine I'm narrating a story. So while I'm narrating a story, you'll be having your own imagination. Let's imagine I'm narrating a Trojan War. Uh, so when I'm narrating the Trojan War and all, you'll be having your own imagination. You'll be having your own costumes like that all these soldiers have put up on, and you'll be having this own, facial features. Like you can design that particular character whom you're listening to in your own way. So that's the biggest advantages factor what we can uh, you know segregate between podcast and radio. Am I audible? Like, are you guys listening to me? Am I, like, is my rate of speech a bit faster or else what? Like, because I'm still in that technical glitch mode. I don't know what am I saying and what am I doing, but I think like I'm just going with the flow. Just let me know if I'm thorough with the subject or not, or else like uh, everyone able to listen to me, right? Can
Yes,
someone say
yes,
yes?
Mahesh.
Yes, sir. So is podcasting effective as a medium, and why? I would say, of course, when it comes to podcasting, effective medium, it is because as we are going through this COVID era and this pandemic, there's something good in every bad, as they say. There's been 68% of listeners rate. There's been a 68% of growth in listeners rate, particularly in podcasting all over the world. And the saddest part is there are no much podcasts, or else like there are no really great podcasters in India so far, because like there's been you can count them on fingers. Like that could be more than not even more than 10 or 12. Like even the 10 or 12, even those 10 and 12 podcasters, like their journey started 8 months back. That's because like someone who explored a podcast more than 3 years back and kept his consistency, assuming that there will be a boom, there will be a recognition to podcast someday, and everyone will know this particular medium's power, and one will be a podcaster for sure and all. So if we take like these 2 years, like 2021 and 2020 and 2021, because of this pandemic, despite consuming all the content and entertainment content and knowledge shareable content and online content and whatever all the uh, necessary content which is like already produced, like in all these years, 89% of data has been consumed. 80%, 89% of all the content which was created in these past years was consumed by everyone in these 2 years. Whereas apart from that, except podcasting, it's got 68% of listeners growth. So that means like people are waiting for something, waiting for something called podcast, like where what could be new? What could what else there could be something new when it comes to podcasting? Why is not someone narrating a new story or something? Why is not someone creating a podcast about this particular issue, or is this particular subject, or is this particular thing which I wanted to listen through audio medium and all? So it is effective. And uh, as I said, why, I'll tell you. We just spoke about those numbers, right? Like, how much growth was there during this podcasting era, which was created like so since so far, but this particular 2 years took a boom, like something, when it come to podcast and all. I'll tell you why this one is particularly effective. Let's imagine, uh, like uh, you know uh, how do I give this particular example? Okay, let's imagine. I don't think like whether I should take this particular brand as example or not. Let's imagine Byju's. They have innovated and they've invented this like online medium in a much a better way, where people, like students, want to grow their imagination skills, but they couldn't attain that because like they are literally spoon feeding them, like this is going to happen. Like when they explain a subject, or else like when they explain a particular thing, they're like literally spoon feeding, which is also resulting in not creating a imaginary, not creating a own creation of themselves. But whereas podcasting is able to create that, because like you'll be having your own medium inside your head, and when you listen to them, closing your eyes, or it's like when you're traveling, or it's like you don't have to submit yourself. Like let's imagine you're seeing something on TV, you're submitting yourself like in front of that television, holding a book or something, like you need to give your everything, and you sit there and you learn that particular subject. But when it comes to podcasting, this automatically will be recorded in your subconscious mind. In that way, a podcast is always effective. So moving to further slides, what to include in podcasting as content? um, it's a vast subject, because everyone got a story. I have a story, you have a story, and someone interested in creating a different podcast, like which is related to cooking. Someone want to narrate their travel stories. Someone want to narrate their personal views on something, and someone want to narrate their personal experiences. Someone want to narrate a story. Someone want to narrate a book. But fortunately, here we assembled because like uh, why and how a podcast can be useful, uh, like when it comes to teaching. So I don't think like you'll be very much surprised, or else like confused like what to do in a podcast, because you're precisely and you separately want to use this for teaching and knowledge sharing purpose, right? So that's why I don't think like that's a big issue. You can include anything in a podcast, except that is not objectionable. Even the objectionable content is also available on internet, right? Like nowadays, but I don't want to talk about them. But when it comes to teaching, like as I was telling before, like you can't explain a maths in podcast. If that could be done, that's a great effort by one teacher, because like that's dependent on one teaching skills and all. And I think what to include in a podcasting as a content is like it's one's call. So in that way, a story, or else like a lesson, and you can you can do an entire textbook as a podcast, if I'm making sense. And coming to the next slide, why should one do or listen to podcasts? So as I was telling, there's been a great growth in listening, in podcasting, in podcast listeners. Like that's been 68% of growth, and people are looking for new podcasts and all. And mm, like listening to them, they want to do their own podcast, like where one got their own views, one got their own subject, one got their own skill, one got their own like what you call a perspective on everything what they see nowadays. So that way I think like it's vice versa. Why one should do, why one should do and one should listen to podcasts is like vice versa, because like it's like reading and learning, reading and writing and reading. It's something like that. So if you listen to a podcast, you learn something. If you do a podcast, you're teaching someone. So this is I don't think there's a big reason why one should do or listen to a podcast. And moving on to the further slide, how long can a podcast be? Yeah. See, like in television, we see some ads like which will last for 10 seconds, but they make a great impact on viewers. And we also see great films which are like, more than 3.5 hours. Like, yeah, there are some films like which are 3.5 hours. Like, there are some short films which are just like 1 minute long, and which are something 25 minutes long. But the kind of impact they make is what matters. So that's how, a podcast can be for 15 to 30 minutes. And these are something, I mean, like this particular session is something related to teaching, right? So I think 30 minutes is like a normal class will be a normal class, or is like a period which will last for 45 minutes, I guess, because it's been more than 20 years I finished my schooling. That used to prolong for more than 3 periods. Like the syllabus is vast. So let's imagine if a class or else like a period is lasting for 30 minutes, and you want to complete that particular syllabus in that 30 minutes. And even in that, you got a breaks and all. But when it comes to podcast, like you can have that particular subject for 30 minutes, absolutely. And so far we have like there are also some podcasts like more than 45 minutes, but uh, 15 to 30. Sir, is everything okay? Hello, someone was telling me something.
Yeah, you can continue, Mahesh.
Yes, sir. So a podcast can long for 15 to 30 minutes. So depending on the subject. So taking a particular class or else period for 30 minutes, like that's how we generally have. So you can have a podcast for 30 minutes. So what tools and softwares do we need to make a podcast? So podcasting, like just the way, not just podcast, like any subject should be considered as a vast ocean, sir. And just the way we can't swim the entire ocean in like 1 or 2 days or 2 months, but at the same time we can't give up. And whatever the time band we got, like we'll be taking that enough knowledge of that particular subject. uh, but here, when it comes to making a minimalistic podcast, and the kind of tools and the kind of softwares and the kind of equipment we need to make a podcast is like, it's very minimalistic. All you need is uh, a laptop. If you're not having a laptop, or else like if you can't afford a laptop, you can also do that in a phone, your smartphone, yeah, which like where one can record their voice in that. That's absolutely fine and okay to have that a small audio system where see, one can't have an entire studio to record a podcast. Like that I don't even prefer that. We just need to have a laptop. If there is no laptop, you can have a phone. Nowadays every phone is having this internal feature called included feature called voice recorder. So that one is like absolutely enough. And the software, if you have a laptop, if you can afford a laptop, all you need is Audacity 2.5 software, which is like absolutely free, and it won't even cost you much space. It will just cost you like some 10 MB to 10 MB to 12 MB of your space from your hard disk. And you need like to make a podcast poster, you need just a Canva. Canva is a website and also a app which is like freely available. And you also need not to subscribe for a premium in that. Like you also got free templates in that. And these are the three things. Oh, I forgot the biggest tool which is needed to make a podcast. That is a mic. If you can't afford a big mic, your earphones with a mic, which will cost you like just some 100 rupees, like that, even that is also fine. These are the four things that will be enough and that are needed to make a standard podcast. So I'll repeat those once again. Those tools and softwares, what we want: a laptop, if not laptop, a phone. Software, it's Audacity. If not Audacity, InShot is fine. Even VN editor is also fine. And there is this some phones even got this internal voice editor, which is like some high end phones, even that is also, even that will do to make a standard podcast. And a Canva, Canva, it's a software, like it's app, it's a website actually, where you can make your podcast poster. And yeah, these are the things like which will be needed to make a standard podcast. And moving on to the further slide, yeah, this is the biggest thing, like where can we publish our podcast? Okay, let's imagine we did a podcast, like we made a podcast and we want to share that. We can, like, we got many mediums. We can share that through our WhatsApp status. We can share that through YouTube, which is absolutely free. You can share that through Instagram. And apart from these, all these mediums are something we can also share through Facebook. All these mediums are something distractable, sir. Like, let's imagine you made a podcast about a lesson, or it's like you a subject, and you made that podcast and you publish that on Facebook, or else on YouTube, or else on Instagram. Let's imagine a student plugged in his earphones and listening to the particular podcast. And what happens in this is, like, you'll be popping up with lots of distracting advertisements, where the student will be distracted and he will be easily diverted to something else. Like, let's imagine there's a he's keenly and clearly listening to a podcast, and there's been a PUBG ad which just popped up, because like that's how all this algorithm works. And that's how these people, uh, like, all this algorithm and all this, like, web pages distract people who are actually doing something. And they want to not allowing them to consume the actual content. So I suggest a podcast should be published on any audio medium platform. That is Wink, that is WYNK, Wink, Geo Savan, we got Ghana. But the biggest and the safest and the coolest one is, like, it's Spotify, Spotifi, like, where we all listen to songs now. uh, like, many are using this particular medium as podcast listening mediums. So I prefer not to have any video included podcast. Like, I prefer, I suggest one to make a standard listening podcast, like where one can just like plug in their earphones and listen to the particular podcast, like not getting distracted watching screen. So where can we do this? So there are these two websites where they publish your podcast. One is rss.com. Yeah, it's RSS. It's not Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. It's RSS. This is completely different. It's complete. It's got complete contrast. Like, RSS is that one platform where it welcomes your podcast. Once you complete your podcast, it welcomes your podcast, and they welcome your podcast and they publish. It's like, how do I explain this in a easy way? Let's imagine we have all these OTT platforms, right? People make content and they bring it to AHA, or else like Netflix, or else like Amazon Prime. And once they get this content to these OTTs, they publish, right? That's how, no matter how many podcasters they are, no matter how many podcasts you make, you should bring that particular content together. Like, if you want to spread that to everyone, you should bring that content to RSS. RSS is that particular platform where they publish your podcast. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's a paid medium, where one need to have a registration for that. Like, that will cost you 400 to 600. And so, like, some even get this free premium for that. Like, it's company's fish. It's absolutely RSS fish. And similarly to RSS, there is also this app called Anchor, Anchor. These are the two major main platforms where they publish your podcast. So you create a podcast, you publish that on RSS and Anchor. They spread this particular podcast like you made it. So how do they do it? How will one know that, like, I made a podcast on a science subject, or else a math subject, or else a Telugu subject, or else a Hindi subject? That's where your title decides. uh, let's imagine you ordered a dish in a hotel and they delivered something. There's been a complete mismatch, right? That's like, similarly, let's imagine you made a podcast on Telugu subject, and if you put a title of Hindi, So there will be a big mismatch and there will be a miscommunication, and your podcast will be titled as Telugu, but the content in that particular podcast will be the audio will be in Hindi. So that's a complete mismatch. So your content and your heading should match, should absolutely match. That's when this particular algorithm and RSS and Anchor people will segregate your podcast, and they place it in in that particular category. So let's imagine if I want to listen to a Telugu podcast, I'll directly go to Telugu section. I'll select those new podcasts like which are there. In those also there are preferences like teaching, storytelling, studying, or as a personal experiences, horror stories, and etc. So there are these segregation categories like where I want to precisely learn about a particular subject. I'll go to that particular category. I select that. I listen to that podcast, and that's how I gain knowledge. So these are the two mediums, RSS and Anchor. These are the two major platforms where you can publish your podcast. And there are also these new, like wherever there is market, always a new company comes. So similarly, there is this new company which want to make this podcasting much more easier. So like uh, you know you'll be happening to see much more new companies. There's like new platforms where they welcome your podcast, because like content creation has become a big boom, and uh, everyone want to welcome their experiences and all these audio files. So but these are the two main and major platforms where you can publish your podcast. One is RSS and the other one is Anchor. And moving on to the further slide, stages of a podcasting. So uh, how a standard podcast is made? What are the stages? Let's imagine filmmaking. How a film is done and released. First, a story is written, and then pre-production is planned. Audition happens, and they go for a location recce. They do the shoot, and they finish the shoot, and they take the whole rush to a editor. They edit that. They mix a sound to that, and after mixing a sound, like they do this sensor cut. After that, they announce, they release a trailer, and post this like trailer release and all, they announce a date, and they open this like ticketing platforms. You buy a ticket, you go and experience that particular film, right? Like, so let's imagine to this previous example which I took, like filmmaking, there are not less than 10 stages, right? So when it comes to podcasting, like we got some stages. The first stage is like content. What content you want to record, or is like what content you want to publish, what content, what kind of knowledge you want to share to particular podcast listener. So choosing your content is your first stage in podcasting. So here we are learning this session for teaching purpose, right? So I don't think that will be a big confusion, like what to choose your content. So choosing a lesson, that's your call. That's absolutely your call. What to choose a content, what to choose the particular content. So that's the first stage. And the second one is like recording. Why recording is a big issue, I'll tell you. Because like, if you own a grand studio where you got all the equipment, all the latest equipment, all the latest softwares and all, that's fine. Because like when you buy them, like when you got that enough knowledge to afford them, you'll be having that particular way, or is like that particular skill to record also. But there are people who want to do podcasts, like they fail in recording properly. What happens is like they don't choose a proper studio, or is like they don't choose a proper place. They choose their surrounding acoustics, which got huge reverb, which got huge echo, lots of disturbance, lots of distraction and all. And despite they managed to meet these parameters also, they fail in recording their content properly. There will be blows, there will be pronunciation mistakes, there will be stumbling, there will be stuttering, there will be distraction of content and all. A lot thing happens, and that's why like you one need to take care of their recording. So recording is the second stage in podcasting. And the third stage is like editing. uh, like let's imagine you created a podcast with a flow, like one will be having a flow, like once I start, I won't end and all. So there are some people who start at a stretch and they want to just narrate their content and all. So that will take you to a time span of like more than 40 minutes. Let's imagine one created a podcast of 1 hour, which also included lots of stuttering, lots of stammering, lots of editings, lots of fumbling, lots of pauses, lots of gaps. So when you listen to that particular podcast, like you won't feel interesting, and you'll be waiting for the next word to. You'll be listening to the next word, like what is this a particular podcast is saying, and all. You'll be waiting for that. So to avoid all that, you need to edit your podcast. You need to edit in such a way there won't be you need to edit that in such a way there shouldn't be any blows or like any errors, like any pauses, any mistakes, any fumblings, or else any objectionable language, or else any foul language you didn't use. And so editing is the third stage one need to take care of when creating or else making a standard podcast. And coming to the fourth one, sound mixing. uh, let's imagine there are some content, like we can't imagine a content without any background music. You can also do that, but adding a sound to that particular content will give you a very good imaginative essence to that particular thing. Let's imagine I'm narrating a story about this like Trojan War. While I'm doing that podcast, like if I also include some sounds which are related to that particular story, that will create an impact on a particular listener. So listener will be, or else like student will be able to create more images in his mind, and he can understand more, and he'll be having a clear picture of the particular podcast. So having a proper sound mixing to your podcast is the next stage. And adding a poster, the next stage of standard podcast making is like adding a poster. So you know one can't, just the way like how do I say this, like just the way people say like face is the index of the mind and all. When you create a podcast and you create a offbeat poster, or is like if you create a very non-impactful title to that particular podcast, that particular podcast uh, is not made to his target audience. So having a proper poster to your podcast is the next stage in creating a standard podcast. And the final stage is publishing. You do all this, you choose your content, you record properly, you do a proper editing, and you did a very good sound mixing, and you also added a poster, impactful poster, where any student can any student will be like uh, like clickbaitable poster you made, and you did everything. You met all these parameters. You made sure all these stages are met. But if you don't publish a podcast, like no one will listen. So even the publishing is also like one should consider that as a stage until and unless it's published and it's available, and like one listen to that particular podcast, like you shouldn't consider that it's not yet done. So these are the 6 stages of creating a proper standard podcast. And moving on to the further slide, how to make a poster. This is something I need to show you, but not I can. This is not something I can explain you in words. This is something I need to show you, with hands on, like how to do this, because this is a learn. This particular one is like involved in it's a learning skill, like how to use a proper Canva. If you want to make a poster for your particular podcast, and you don't find, if you don't find any like you also need not to have a photoshopping skills or something, or else like you need not to have any Corel Draw skills to make a design for your particular podcast. Like all you just need is some excuse me, all you need is this one Canva website where it's got pre-templates, like pre-loaded templates, where you can use for your podcast absolutely for free, without paying any premium to that. And how to make a poster, I'll teach you further, like what kind of templates you need to take, and how to edit, how to color mix, how to match that with particular podcast title and all. I'll teach you in the further session, like how to edit, how to sound record, and how to mix match, and how to remove that blurs and all, and how to edit that and all, and how to make a poster, how to publish everything. I'll be teaching you in the further sessions. So with this, like, I'm done with the theory part. Yeah, that's it. I know I fumbled a lot because I told you I'm blanked out because of this technical glitch. So I prepared a lot, but I think I explained everything what I actually prepared. So I'm done with the theory part, sir. So anything else like want to ask? Anyone want to ask anything? Ma'am? Hello?
Mahesh.
Sir, I'm done with the theory part, sir.
Yes, yes, you can proceed. Then after showing the practical only, they will ask you some questions.
Sure, sir. Fine then,
Okay.
sir. I'll be showing you this particular software which like I was talking about a while back, which is
Okay.
called Audacity. Are you able to see my screen,
Yes, Mahesh.
sir? So, sir, I was telling you about this particular software, right? Audacity. It's Audacity. So this one. This is Audacity software. Its size is like the size of this particular software is 88.2 MB, and like it just like it won't cost you, anything. This is not a paid software. This is absolutely a trial software. You can just download this. You can just click on this and it will automatically download. And I already pre-downloaded this. I have this software with me. You just need to open this Audacity software and you need to run some applications. You need to just click yes, and it will also ask you like whether you want to run this software in English or as like any other regional language or as geographical language. So as we're all okay with English, so I'm going with English. You need to click next, also next. You just need to give permissions. You just need to install this software. It's called Audacity, Audacity. So this will load in your computers. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll be talking about what if there is no laptop and how we want to, what if there is no laptop and what if I want to record in your phone? You can do that. You got this recorder option as I was telling you, right? So every phone got this recorder option. You can, and nowadays, like phones are so smart. Like they give you this particular recording, whichever you do in MP3 format, wave format, whatever format you wish, where you want to edit in any software. I finally finished this. I finally finished installing this software. So this is Audacity. It's opening now. So this is how it looks, sir. So this is Audacity software. So you got a pause key here. You got a play here. You got a stop. You got skip, forward skip and backward skip. You got record option. There are many options. Like just I was saying a while back, like every software has a huge ocean, and but you need not to swim the entire ocean. You can just learn the basics, like which will be useful. So this is what Audacity software looks like, and we'll be recording a podcast now. We'll be recording a voice now. If you could see this, so if you see here, like there is this file option. Click on that, and click on that and not just a minute. So okay, after installing this Audacity software, uh, you see this pointer here. This pointer. This pointer is something you can scroll anywhere, like till the end. This Audacity software will allow you to record more than 2 to 3 hours. Like I haven't seen anyone recording more than 3 to 4 hours, like in this software. But it will allow you to record more than like 4 hours and all. I assume it also allows you to record more than 5 hours, but a podcast won't long till that time, and I don't think like one will make errors like continuously 5 hours, like where one need to spend a lot on editing also, like which is post production. So after opening this Audacity software and clicking on this open and all, you place your pointer here and you record. So this particular pointer will be moving, and there are this like time seconds like which we need to uh, take care, because these like this will help you in knowing where you made mistake and where you made errors and all. If you see this, like this entire session is getting recorded here now. All these like blue things are like your voice captures. So if I'm clicking on space bar, it stopped now. I clicked on space bar, it stopped now. So what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll play from here. Like if you scroll this pointer and place somewhere and click on the space bar, you see this, like, this entire session is getting recorded here now. All these like blue things are like your voice capture. I'll be recording one more. Is this audible? Like the one which I recorded, like is this audible to everyone? Is this audible? Like the recorded session which I just recorded, like all these blue things like which I played a while back, can you guys able to hear this? Did you listen? Is this audible? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Mahesh, your voice is audible.
Sir, my voice is audible, and sir, is this voice audible, sir, now?
Just play it.
Is this audible, sir, now?
Not as clear
this audible?
as your voice.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, because like we are in Zoom, that's why it's not so clear. That's why it's happening like that.
నేను పోయిన తర్వాత చేశారు సార్ అయితే ఆడికి చేశారు కాల్ చేశారు.
Sir, someone please mute your mic. So, sir, there is this scroller here. If you want to move further and back, so you just need to scroll this. See this one. Can you see this? So this is the scroller. See, if I want to play my session from here, I'll just. All these like two things are like your voice captures. So if I'm clicking on. So it stops here automatically, because like our voice, which is captured, is ending here. So that's why it's stopping here. So automatically it will stop here. So if you want to record another thing, we just need to point our pointer here, pointer here, and place our pointer here and just record again. Just scrolling here, and I place my pointer, and this is the record button, and I'm recording. So it's happening now. So if I speak something, it automatically gets recorded. So this is something like you once you on your record button and you have your script in front of you, and you just keep on recording with a flow, like with a natural flow, a podcaster or else like anyone got. So you just need not to take you need not to worry about like any technical glitches or else something, whether it's recording or not. All these blue lines which are visible on this track are your voice examples, like are your voice samples. So I'm trying to keep my microphone much closer to my mouth, so that like which whatever I'm recording now will be audible to you also. So I want to stop this, so I can also play I can also press space bar, but I can stop from here. See, I paused it here. So if I want to play this, I am placing my pointer here. I'm just like scrolling this, and I'm playing this. Whatever I'm recording now will be audible to you also. So I want to stop this, so I can also play. I can also press. Is the recorded voice audible, sir, to you now?
Very low, Mahesh.
Very low, sir. Okay, this will be like clearly audible in your computer, sir, because like in Zoom it's like retransforming. That's why it's not audible very clearly. So but the software works this way. So after recording something like that, let's imagine you recorded your podcast. Okay, this is all the content which you just recorded a while back, and now I want to edit this. So so there is this like clear straight line, whatever is there here, this is nothing but a empty voice record. So there is no voice here, this is absolutely empty. I want to delete this. So what I have to do is like I have to select this. How can I select this is I just need to click on, with mouse, like point your mouse wherever you want to start. From there to till where you want to edit this, just uh, click your click left click, I mean like with mouse, like with left click, you just need to select this, and you see this scissor scissor option here. You just need to click on this. Now it's edited, it's gone, it's not there. See, there is this gap here in between. While you're recording your podcast, there is this like when you take some gap, or it's like you fumbled, or it's like you took a retake, and if you want to edit that, all you need to do is like select that particular part and just cut it. Select that particular part and cut it. Select that particular part and cut it. Now this became a complete voice track. See, there is this small uh, empty space here. And if you are unable to select this particular space, all you can do is like place your pointer here and click on this magnifying option. So what this will do is like this will expand your voice track. Now you can easily edit this. See, there was no option to edit this one, right? Now you can easily edit this. See, there won't be a millisecond of gap also. Now I selected that, I removed that. So that's how you can use this software like to edit your podcast like easily, very easily. So what we like, once we will revise this once again. What we did, we installed Audacity software from Google, and it's not at all space consuming. It's like it's not even 100 MB. It's less than 100 MB. It's just 88.9 MB. That to a trial version, which is not at all costing anything to us. So we installed Audacity software. After that, we placed our pointer here and we clicked on this record button, with which recording automatically started. Because how we came to know that, because like this particular pointer was like going on creating a voice waves like which we were recording, and that's how all this like recording happened. And after that, what we did, there are some gaps in between, and we are deleting that. We are selecting that, and we are deleting them. We are selecting and we are deleting them. If in case there are very minor gaps, like where we can't reach them properly, where a single word or a like single sentence is being missed, what we have to do, we have to place a pointer here and click on the magnifying symbol here, it will take you to a much closer view, and then select and then cut. So I'll be creating one more now for your better understanding. So I want to delete this. I can also do that. I can also create a multiple one here only. Just a minute. And just the way we we took a closer look to edit this, we can also shrink this by clicking on the opposite symbol. See, this is the whole voice format which we just recorded. To explain this much more clearly, I'm recording one more thing. I'm placing my pointer here and I'm recording. మిర్చి 98.3 ఇది చాలా హాట్ గురు. మిర్చి మహేష్తో వింటున్నారు ఒక మధ్యాహ్నం. పాడ్కాస్టింగ్ అనేది పిల్లలకి చదువులో ఎలా ఉపయోగపడుతుంది అనే దానిపైన సెషన్ నడుస్తుంది, మాట్లాడుతున్నాం. అండ్ చాలా కొత్త విషయాలు తెలుసుకుంటున్నాం. సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఎలా పనిచేస్తుంది అది ఇది అని. ఓకే, దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ ఐ రికార్డెడ్, రైట్? ఈవెన్ లైక్ దిస్ ఇంగ్లీష్ థింగ్ లైక్ విచ్ ఐ జస్ట్ సెడ్, లైక్ ఇది కూడా రికార్డ్ అవుతుంది కదా అని, అది కూడా like even that one got recorded. And if I want to edit that, what we have to do now, we have to stop recording. Now select this particular voice file, listen to it once, select your pointer, just maximize it. From here it started, right? So from here it started, and we have to select from this pointer and play. Listen, see, after saying that, like there's a small gap here. Like I wantedly took a gap and I want to remove this gap. I placed my pointer here, I maximized it, I selected this, and I edited this. Now if I want to listen to it, I can just place my pointer here and play. See, there is no gaps at all. That's how it works. It's very simple. It's just like any other video editing tool in our phones, what we use nowadays to put our we happen to edit lots of videos nowadays, like right nowadays. So it's something like that. So this is how you can record and edit. So once you record everything, you edit everything, your file will be ready. And I was talking about this, adding a music to this, right? So how do you add music to this? So again, go back to Google and open YouTube. Don't be surprised by the suggestions. I don't know what all I Googled. So there are some copyright audios available on YouTube. So I typed NCS music. See, I got this like no copyright sounds. You see this? I got this no copyright sounds, which is more than 3 hours. 3 hours, 4 minutes, 58 seconds. Some are for 3 hours. Some are for 3 minutes 44 seconds. Some are for 2 minutes 40 seconds. And similarly, there are many websites which are providing no copyright sounds. You can choose one from them and select that. You can extract music from this. How do you extract music from this? You click on this share button. You click on this share button. You copy this link. You paste in a new tab, and you know what? I can even show you how to extract music freely from any YouTube video. So go to YouTube MP3 converter. Okay. Copy paste the link. See, we are just doing that. We are just copy pasting the link which we just took a while back, and choose MP3 with quality. Choose. I'm extracting your audio here. It's called Saint Finks. It's not even Finks, it's PHNX. Saint Finks. So I took this audio, I pasted here, and we are opening this software again. We have this audio track already, right? We have this, voice track already, and we are adding the audio to this. So how do we take that? So simply you need to drag this audio here. It will be opened here. Okay, this is not supporting. It's an advanced one. We'll try another audio. Okay. What I'll do is I'm copying this content, Control C, and I am placing here again. Okay. Can you see? Okay. I am deleting this everything. This previous one, everything. Now we have two audio tracks, the similar audio tracks. I'm explaining you this because how this sounding and all works. So let's imagine if I'm playing this, we are there's a confusion between these two audios, right? Because like these are two audio files. In this place of audio files, if I put a music and all on this audio file, on this voice file, there will be a audio running, and you can choose its volume accordingly with this L and right, like left and right audio levels. You can select them accordingly, and you'll be having a background music with that. And you can delete this whenever you want. Once you add an audio to this and edit this perfectly, and once you feel that this particular voice track is ready to go to published podcast category, you just need to save this file. I'm saving this file. I'm saving this project. As podcast 1. I have this podcast 1 as audio, and now we have to go to I was telling you about these two softwares, like two websites, like where they allow you to publish your podcast, right? See, this one is rss.com. You need to sign up to this. You can sign up for free. It will ask your email ID and password. Just like RSS, there is also Anchor. So this is Anchor. This is RSS. You need to sign into this. You need to have your email ID and password. Once you sign into this, you just need to upload your podcast with a poster. I was telling you about this poster, right? You need to have a poster. So how do you make poster? Canva. You love this website because it's got free templates and it's very easy to use. It's very easy to make a poster for a podcast, an impactful one. So this is Canva, the website which will allow you to make your own poster absolutely for free. See, you got these options here. You can make a video here, your story, photo collage, Instagram post, Instagram story. Similarly, you need to choose this poster. Once you choose your poster option, you'll be having this templates search column where one can search templates accordingly according to your podcast. Let's imagine we made a podcast about science. So science fair posters, science posters. Okay, University Science Fair, Bridgetown Science Fair, thus the art of science. Okay, this particular poster looks like a podcasting poster. So I'm selecting this. I selected this. Okay, the art of science. You can edit this. You can edit this like you got options. You can click on that. You can type whatever you want. I'll type here agriculture. Agriculture University podcast. Who made this podcast? I made this podcast. So have your name here. Mahesh made this podcast. So let's imagine any agriculture university student sees this poster and okay, he'll be attracted. Okay, there is a podcast about my university. Let me listen to it. Enough. Like we made some impact on precise category students. So this is how you can do n number of changes in your poster. You can add a color. You can add your podcast title. Yeah, like you can also add a image of yours to this podcast poster on Canva, which is absolutely for free. See, this particular website didn't ask me for any money. Like why am I logging in? What am I doing? Why do I have to help you to create a poster absolutely free for free? Like it didn't ask me anything. It just showed me templates according to my search option. So similarly, I'll I type agriculture. See, if we are making a podcast about agriculture, see, okay, see, I like this template. For this, we need an upgradation. So we are not using this. We'll take something which is available for free. Okay, we are taking this agriculture university podcast. See, I already typed agriculture university podcast, like it's still there. You can make according changes to this. You can also add a photograph, like photograph of that particular podcaster who is doing. We just need to click on this add page, or it's like add duplicate page and add page and options where we got just a minute, I'll show you. If we add a page, this will create another page. Simply drag a photo or video on top to replace it. So you need to have your photographs already open. You can just uh, select and drop them here. You'll be having your own photo here on this particular podcast poster, which you can do on Canva absolutely for free. Once your poster is done, I'll save this poster. I'm saving this here. Sharing this, downloading this. See, I have this podcast poster now, and I sign into this. See, this is Anchor. Make your first episode, set up your podcast, go to podcast setup, set up monetization. Yeah, you can also monetize your podcast. Like uh, if there are many listeners, like if there are a great fan base, they're formed to your podcast. Like they will be also monetized. You will be getting money in return also. So go to podcast setup. Your podcast name, as I was telling, agriculture podcast, right? See, agriculture podcast. Podcast description. What is your podcast about? You know, like if your podcast is about something, you need to write here my podcast, not like this podcast serves all your queries about agriculture. Choose a category: entrepreneurship, investing, marketing. You want this one is for teaching, right? Arts, books, non-profit. We'll go to teaching, technology, philosophy, books, Christianity, self-improvement, government, education, courses, how to. I'm choosing this how to, and I'm continuing. Podcast language. We made something in Telugu, so I'm selecting Telugu, and I'm continuing this. Search for a photo, upload an image. We already made a, excuse me, we already made a poster, right? So I'm uploading an image. See, I just uploaded a photo of my poster of this particular podcast. I'm continuing that. And I can add a text to this, like in whichever way I want, an impactful one. I'm I'm selecting this, update cover art. Done. I'm done with this. And your podcast will be published in Anchor or else RSS. Accordingly, like when someone searches for setup monetization, let's do it. Welcome to Anchor. So we don't want to monetize this, so that's why. See, it's done. It's in public site. agriculture podcast. This podcast serves all your queries about agriculture. We made a heading, right? We made impactful heading for this. So this is how it reflects on Anchor. Similarly, in RSS also, you just need to log into that and create a podcast with your cover, with your with an impactful title, and it will be visible there. Eventually, it will be published to Spotify, and I can't promise about like Wink or Geo7, Ghana, or like any other musical platforms, but Spotify is the greatest platform where one can publish their all these podcasts are unavailable because we haven't put the audio file, right? That's how. So this is how it works. So we'll have a uh, revived look once again. So you need to download this software called Audacity. Yeah, this is Audacity software. Like it's available on Google for absolutely for free. It won't cost you or else like much of your space, not your money. Once you download that, you need to run this software. Once you run this, it opens and it looks like this with this interface. After it's open, you have to start recording, and while recording, make sure your mic is like away from your mouth, like to avoid blows and air gaps and all. So once you place your pointer here and click record, it will automatically start recording. And once you finish recording, you need to stop this. This is pause button, this is stop button. You can also use space bar. Once you stop it, you listen to your podcast. You listen to your podcast, like if there is any editing or like stuttering, stammering, and where you want to edit something, you just need to select that part and delete that part. Once you delete, that's gone. You can also get that again if you want. You just need to use Control Z keys to get that back. Say I'm using Control Z on my keyboard. See, I got that again. And once you're done, you need to add a music to this. If you have a copyright-free music already downloaded, you just need to, you just need to put that here as a track, and there shouldn't be any dominations of background music on your voice track. For that, you need to lessen your music volume where one can listen to your podcast. Like that should be audible, right? Not that your background music only will be audible. So once you do that, it's done. You need to save this project. Once you save this, you need to make a poster for your podcast. For that, you need to go to Canva, which is easy, and you need to check for a poster and click accordingly what you want to do in particular poster category: agriculture, education, maths, fantasy, philosophy, whatever you want. You need to click here and you'll be getting suggestions and recommendations. Select one good poster and edit the text like however you want, because that which is relevant to your podcast. Because like your title and your content should be relevant. That's when audience will trust you, and next time they will listen to your podcast. So once you do this, you have to save this poster. After that, go to RSS or else Anchor, whichever website is giving you free access to this, or else like paid access, like where you can afford. Once you sign into this, select the category and upload your podcast, and also upload your uh, podcast image, cover photo, and give a description to that, give a title to that. And once it's published, it's on air now. Anyone can listen to that and they can get back to you. And don't forget to add Instagram ID, or else like reference ID where they can get back to you, email ID, or is like any phone number, or is like if they got any queries, if they got any suggestions, if they got any feedback to share with you, you can do that in that particular podcast only. And that's how we do it. I know I kind of didn't explain you very like in a very good fluent English, but I tried to explain you all in the details. And with this, I'm done now. If anyone got any doubts, and if any got any technical doubts, you can just let me know so that we'll revise this topic once again. Please.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh. So now it is our turn. If we have any doubts, now we can ask Mahesh. So thank you for explaining in detail regarding the stages in podcasting and showing step by step. Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you so much, sir. Anyone want to say something, or else like any particular part where they want to ask questions and didn't understand anything? In my view, making
On
a
what
podcast is something. So please, yes, sir.
on what basis they are going to monetize your podcast, Mahesh?
On
So
your
where use
listenership, sir.
yeah listenership. Okay.
Listenership.
So
If
can we know the how they are going to pay?
that depends, sir. Like they will like Spotify people will, they will call you, they'll send a mail to you, they will get in contact, they will get in touch with you. um, for example, for the year 2021, the most listened Telugu podcast is Puri Jagannath's Puri Musings. They are also available on YouTube, they are also available on Spotify. So it varies, sir. It varies from podcast to podcast, person to person. Like, it's completely their company's policy.
So if there are no queries, we can close the session, and otherwise we can discuss. Sir Raju sir, good evening, sir.
Anyone want to ask anything? Any technical part where they felt a bit confusing, or is like that need to be revived again? I can do that. It's very like, in my view, making a podcast is like, a podcast is nowadays like easier than making a Instagram reel, or else like putting a Facebook post, because you got a view, you got a different view, or else you got a thing to say, which will have more impact in audio. You can just do that. And some common mistakes what they think, and some common myths what they think is like, one need to have a good voice to be a podcaster. So that's not at all true, or else like that's very false actually. Of course you need to have a good voice. Like a good voice is not something uh, you know from your, not from your epiglottis. That's something you should have your inner voice. So that's where your podcast will go viral. But here we are making, we want to learn something for teaching, right? So I think you'll be using this podcast making thing for educational purpose, like for 30 minutes of time, explaining in a better way, so that one can listen to it and listen to that n number of times, and you know have a knowledge of that particular subject. So I know, like, these are just general views I'm telling you about podcasting, or else RJing, or else anyone, because like these both are similar. So any suggestions, any feedbacks you want to give, please. So uh, once again, I'll just open the slides, and I'll just like show you what all we said, what all we actually discussed in this session. So so what is a podcast? Like we discussed what is a podcast. It's an audio medium where we can um, it's an audio medium, a episodic series of digital audio or video files that a user can download to a personal device to listen to at a time of their choosing. And uh, it's better uh, because these are going to be you're going to use this for educational purpose. So that's why this I feel I recommend this should be for audio only, in audio mode only. Whereas like if these are in video or else like Instagram accessible, they will be distractible, what I feel. So this is what is a podcast about. And difference between podcast and radio is something you need to tune into frequency. You need to tune into your frequency in a particular time, and you need to be very attentive. You can't miss a thing. You need to be very attentive, and you need to submit yourself. You need to surrender yourself. But whereas podcast, you can re-listen to that, clearly listen to that a number of times, and wherever, no matter wherever you are. And you also need not to have an frequency. You just need internet for once you download it, it will be in your uh, device forever. You can revisit and have that experience again and again. So common factors between podcast and radio: both are evergreen mediums, just the way many things replace many things. But narrating something, having imaginary things through a voice is like not replaced. In fact, it got enhanced through podcast, because earlier it was radio, now it podcast, and the era is like booming like anything. And is podcast effective as a medium? Why? Yes, it is effective. Through podcast, many people came to know many things. Travel industry in many countries uh, showed a tremendous growth because of podcasting. Because like there are many explorers around the world who started sharing their views and sharing their experiences, sharing their journeys through podcast, which created an enthusiasm in them, which resulted in many people to start traveling journeys and exploring new places, doing a vlogging, or it's like visiting to that particular place and experiencing the same experience where the previous blogger and podcaster explained. So it is effective. And why? And because it's now we are in a customized lifestyle, like everything has become digital and online, and one got no time, or else like there are also many reasons like social distancing and all. One need to sit in class with among many students and learn subjects. But this podcast, like podcasting, also will help students or else anyone to listen and learn something, to pay attention on the go. So this way, it's also effective in many ways, but this is one of those ways like where it's effective. So yeah, coming to the next slide. What to include in podcasting as content? It's one call. You can make a podcast about everything and anything, but here we are learning this skill for teaching purpose. So I think you'll be using this medium to uh, you know to narrate something, or else like to explain something in a better way, giving examples where one can understand easily. So, and coming to the next slide. uh, yeah, why should one do or listen to podcasts? Like, just the way we can't live everyone's life, that's why we read books and we live many lives. So similarly, like you can't just complete a book in just 1 or 2 days. It takes certain time. That depends on the size of book and the size of content which is there in that. But a podcast will give you an experience in some minutes, a half an hour, a hour, or let's say 15 minutes, 10 minutes, a impactful one. So if you're listening to a podcast, you're living that experience. If you're doing a podcast, you're making someone to relive the same experience which you had, which is also spreading someone else to have that experience in real, through audio format, and also in an imaginary way. So this is why one should do and listen to podcasts. Like, how long can a podcast be? That could be for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But educational podcast, what I feel, should be lasting for 15 to 30 minutes. And yeah, because like that's how a class period will be lasting, what I'm assuming. Like, going back to my school days, that used to be some 30 to 45 minutes. And what tools and softwares do we need to make a podcast? You absolutely, like, if you ask me, you need not to spend a single penny to make a standard podcast. Nowadays our phones are very smart and very handy and very effective to create something called a standard podcast. You just need a set of, not even set, a pair of earphones which work perfectly, where you can analyze your voice and where you can listen to your blows, like if there's any disturbance, any distraction, and of course with a mic where you can talk, because like that's where magic happens. Like if you don't talk, they won't listen. If you have a mic to your earphones, you'll be a podcaster. If you don't have, you'll be a podcast listener. Either way, it's going to create a magic in your ears. So I say you just need to have a laptop. If not laptop, even your phone will do. If you have a laptop, you just need to put Audacity software, which is absolutely free, which is also not very much space consuming, which is also easy to use. I just showed you how to use that. And if you don't have any laptop, you just need to use that recorder option, which is already inbuilt in your phone. Once you record that, there is also automatic editor in that. If there is no editor, like I showed you how to use this Audacity, if you want to edit in your phone itself, you got InShot app. It's INSHOT. You got VN editor, even that's one free. Even this one is very handy. I use this personally. I recommend this. It's got very um, convenient and easy interface where you can where you got options for many edits and all. So once you edit that, you just need a poster to publish your podcast. Like people need to know what is your podcast about. Further, you just need to have a Canva app, or else you can also log into Canva website, which is absolutely free. Of course, there are some templates which need to be paid, but I don't think uh, you need to spend so much on templates which have to create impact. Your podcast will create enough impact, what I assume and I feel and suggest. And tools and softwares coming tools and softwares apart, you just need RSS and Anchor. These are the two platforms where they welcome podcasts, so that will be published to various platforms. Like I was telling you, right? Like Spotify, Wing, Ghana, JioSaavn, etc., etc. There are so many new musical or like audio listening platforms. So where can we publish our podcast? Like I think I included in the previous point, it's RSS and it's Anchor. There are also many other mediums which you will be knowing further as you go deeper, because like everyone are welcoming content and everyone want to be accessible to that content. So there are many websites and many services coming online to publish your content. And stages of a podcasting: content, recording, editing, sound mixing, adding a poster to that, and publishing. So content, what you want to pod, what you want your podcast to be about. So content, if you whatever the content you want to say, have that content perfectly written on a paper. Once you're ready with your content, record it neatly in a no disturbance room, no reverb room, in a very good mic. If you got mic, that's okay. If not, your earphones are enough. Even though if you don't have earphones, you can just use your phone. You just need to keep that a bit away from your mouth, and that too not directly but on sideways, so that you can avoid blows and all. Once you're done recording, you have to edit that. How to edit that also I showed you. So once you're done with editing, you need to mix a sound to that. You need to add a very good voice. Even like with, if your voice is like absolutely magical, I suggest you to not at all add any sound mixing to that. And because like once the listener is habituated and addicted to your voice, or else like you're teaching the way you talk, the way you pronounce, the way you explain, so they don't care what you're mixing behind your podcast, like what's coming in the background. So sound mixing is the next stage, and after you complete these stages, then comes adding a poster. So once you make an impactful poster, you just need to make sure all the parameters are met, like to make impact to the listener. Once it's done, you just need to publish it, and make sure it's published properly with all the hashtags and all the links and all the get back feedback IDs and all. And I'm done. See, now I got the flow.
Thank you, Mahesh, for your summary.
So thank you so much, sir. Thanks for having me here.
Any queries or clarifications required? Otherwise, shall I close the session?
I'm done from my side, sir.
Yeah. I'll ask
Like if
the
there's any,
participants if they want to interact something with you. Otherwise, any
yes,
clarifications required. So otherwise, you can type in chat also. If there are any questions. Okay, Mahesh. Shall we close?
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Mahesh, for your
Thank you,
elaborate
sir.
lecture as well as practical hands-on training. So they have to do, and if there is any difficulty in doing all these things, then you can get back to Mahesh. If it is, if you are
Sure.
interested, I can give his number and you can talk to him.
And extremely sorry for the delay I caused for half an hour, which resulted in a bit panic during the first stage of like this explanation and all. I you know I made my efforts. Thank you so much,
No
sir.
issue, no issue.
Thank
So
you,
we are very happy with your session, Mahesh. Thank you so much.
thank you, sir.